So there are so many ways to become more self-sufficient, right? You could grow a garden, which is something that should be sought after, but it's not always reliable as, poor soil, bad weather, critters, anything can wipe that out real quickly. We don't all have so much land that we can get a bunch of cattle or anything like that. And so we have to ask ourselves, like, what can we do to best support our family with limited resources and limited land? And my answer will always be chickens. They are just the best option. And so years ago, it was normal for every home to have chickens in them. And so listen to this article that I want to read you from the paper over 100 years ago. And it says, Uncle Sam expects you to keep hens and raise chickens. 2 hens in the backyard for each person in the house will keep a family in fresh eggs. Even the smallest backyard has room for a flock large enough to supply the house with eggs. The cost of maintaining such a flock is small. Table and kitchen waste provide much of the feed for the hens. They require little attention, only a few minutes a day. An interested child, old enough to take a little responsibility, can care for a few birds as well as a grown person. Every backyard in the United States should contribute its share to a bumper crop of poultry and eggs in 1918. In time of peace, a profitable recreation. In time of war, a patriotic duty. And isn't that just amazing? Like what the American people were called to. They were encouraged to become a little more self-sufficient, right? To be able to sustain their families in good times and most certainly in bad. During the recent pandemic, everybody's eyes were open to see, like, you cannot rely on other people, right? So now I think it's a beautiful picture of everybody going back, taking their food source back into their own hands, communities helping one another, right? Learning how to grow your own food, raise your own animals. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about chickens and why that would be a great option for your family. It's funny because years ago, when I started out learning all about our food and all of that, I was like, I want my own garden. I want my own chickens. And so we ended up moving, buying 10 acres of land, and we took over. The people had chickens and sheep on their property. But I was petrified of chickens, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, I wanted their eggs, but I wanted them nowhere near me. And then I remember, I'm like, I don't want to keep them in these pens. I want them to be able to free range and get, the food, the bugs, everything that they're supposed to be eating. And so I did. And they all started chasing me. And I remember, jumping on fences and my husband laughing, like, what are you doing? Stop running. Not realizing all they wanted was a food container in my hand. I didn't realize how they chase you for food. And so, anyway, it's funny how quickly, I have the little chickens around me now. But it's funny how quickly, everything changed. All I would do was, spend time on my deck, and I would just watch them and observe them and see how they interacted, listening to their noises so I could understand when I heard something, what was, whether they were happy, whether they were scared, something was happening. I don't know, it just became one of my favorite things. And, chickens are just such a blessing. They've been such a blessing for our family. And honestly, they are just one of the best resources for food. And so raising chickens is so easy. I can't even explain to you. It's been my son's duty for the last few years to take care of them. And so if a young, 6, 7 at the time, taking care of them, if he could do it, anybody can do it, right? And so you really only need 2 chickens per person, or depending on how many chickens, or how many eggs you want to have. You can think about that. They at least usually lay about 6 eggs a week, right? Think about an egg a day. And so we have such an abundance right now. We have way more chickens than we need, but you don't need that many chickens. You only need a few. And if you have just a little bit of land, that's fine. We had no land right before this. We were on a thumbprint of land, and my husband built me a small coop in the backyard, and I still let my chickens out on my tiny little plot, and by the grace of God, they most of the time stayed on our property. And you don't even have to let them out. You can buy feed and feed them if that's what you want to do. So I mostly let my chickens out to free range so they could eat and get their bellies filled up before I give them any feed at night. And so they do. This is what chickens are supposed to do. They're supposed to be eating grass and bugs and all these other things. You see on food today that it always says vegetarian fed, and that's actually horrible because that's not their normal diet. They were meant to eat everything outside, and that's where we get all of our omegas and nutrients and minerals. And most of them, even when they say that they're organic fed, are just getting fed corn. and that's really all that we're eating. And so this is the best possible way to, you know, get healthy, nutritious eggs for you and your family. And this saves on feed costs right here, right? I would normally, you know, when I had our property before, let me make sure there's not a rooster behind me. These one attacks sometimes. But I would just give them feed. And really, that's not bad, because I would rather be paying for feed and feeding my chickens at home, that I know what's in them, how they're being taken care of, what they're being fed, than not knowing what's on the shelf. And most of the time, the eggs in the grocery store, you don't even know how long they've been sitting on that shelf, right? And so this is one way you can do it, is let your chickens free range. Here's one of my girls. This is a speckled Sussex. These are honestly so sweet, such good layers. A great option for, oh, you okay, Mama? Oh, a great option. I think something happened to her eye. Are you okay? Anyway, these are a great option for a first-time backyard chicken. I'll show you my Plymouth Rocks or Barred Rocks too. Oh, Bobby's going to show you actually. These are one of my favorites that I would always recommend, either the speckled Sussex or the Barred Rock to raise.
I recommend these guys.
Why?
They are sweet, chicken, and curious.
They are. Oh, Mama, what happened? I got to put something in her eye.
Go have fun.
Okay, I thought it looked like that before. And always keep an eye on your chickens to know their needs. And I see some things going on with her eyes, so I'll probably put a little colloidal silver in there, and you'll learn down the line. I have like a little, you know, medicine thing for chickens. But yeah, Plymouth Rock or Barred Rock is what you would see on websites and stuff, or speckled Sussex are great options, great layers, super friendly, especially if you have kids. That's always one of my concerns. I like to steer clear of, you know, different kinds of breeds. There are some things to consider before you buy chickens. One, is your neighborhood zoned for it, right? Or is there a way that you could keep them from not being noticed, right? If you do have a small backyard and neighbors, I would consider not having a rooster, because they are up at 4 or 5 a.m. sometimes, you know, and they make noise all day long. So that's something you can bypass. The hens will continue to lay eggs even without a rooster. When you have a rooster, they just basically fertilize your eggs. So if you want to rehatch eggs, so you do not need a rooster if you want eggs. So that is something to consider. You want to consider how many you want and what's your purpose, right? If it's just for egg laying, there's certain breeds. If you want dual purpose, which actually both of those birds that I just showed you are dual purpose birds, meaning you can have them for eggs or meat. They grow up and are a little bit better, right? Or there are different like meat birds that you would say that were specifically raised for meat, which you would not want for eggs. So understanding what you're looking for, why you want chickens, whether it's for meat, eggs, both. But those two birds, the Barred Rock, speckled Sussex, are a good dual purpose bird, right? If you're looking to sustain your family and you want them just for eggs, that's great. But in the long run, if you need them for meat, you can have that too. And so I raise meat birds as well right now, but as I've shared in other videos, it's not sustainable when you have to keep buying them and slaughtering them. So I want to raise up those heritage breeds, and so they can just keep reproducing, rehatch the eggs themselves. And we have another, you know, you can keep producing. And my son is bringing another one of my favorite breeds. This is actually the first time that we've had these. Let's see if you can see. These are called black sex links. And they are the sweetest little birds. This one, is this her? Is always alone. She is the lowest on the totem pole in this pack. And so you'll often see her wandering by herself or just by us, because the others don't really accept her. And so she gets extra love, right? She's curious, but they're so sweet. Black sex links also, I should have said that before, have now become one of my favorites. And so another thing I would say, if you have a small backyard flock, a good thing that I would recommend, you don't have to do this, but I have noticed, so as you can see, we have a ton of different breeds here, but when I had my small backyard, all of our birds were the same breed. We had nothing but Barred Rock, and I will tell you, it just went so smoothly, because they like their own kind. Birds of a feather flock together is a real thing. So if I were to show you a video of like my front flock, you will see as they walk together, every single breed kind of, they stay in a pack, but they stay separately together. So the like breeds you know, get along. But the ones that are lowest on the totem pole really get beat up. I will show you one of my girls who looks horrible right now. And so to keep peace in small spaces, you know, I would recommend keeping the same breed, but that's up to you. If you want different colored eggs, that means you just get different breeds of chickens and, you know, look up what they lay. So if you want Easter eggers, you want blue or green eggs, you can get olive eggers, right? Morans lay brown eggs. My Barred Rock and Speckled Sussex lay about the same. It's like a light brown, pinkish color. So you decide. But I will tell you, it is honestly so easy to raise chickens. It takes you 5 minutes a day, if that. And if you put out bigger feeders and waterers, sometimes you don't have to do anything, right? What you doing, Jem? What you doing? All right, and you must be careful about your rooster breeds. If you see this one here with all the red on him, he has been attacking like crazy, so he's not going to be with us for much longer. And this is his breed in hen form. This is my son's favorite, little Letty.
So this one is the same kind as him.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think because he is such a dark breed, but her face
Yeah, now he's just our attacker. And she's so sweet. But I have always found that, so she lays blue eggs, this little gray one here. I have always found that this breed, to me at least, has been more skittish. And every time I have even raised my own, hatched my own of this kind from eggs, the roosters have been nasty. And so they are not my favorite. He's beautiful, but he's got to go. And I'll...
Call that the double crow.
Okay, so another thing to consider is if you do have land, you can do like this. We have a movable coop. So instead of the ground that you, look at him, this rooster is my favorite because he hasn't attacked thus far and he's been very friendly. But anyway, instead of ruining the space where your chickens would stay, we take this and we move it. If you can see, actually right behind it, you can probably see in this video was the path that it was on before. So look at how much better the grass looks here. It's darker because they've been going to the bathroom on it, making it healthier. So we are actually building up the land and making it a little more like permaculture, right? These little ones. Oh, here, see, look at this girl that I really need to work on. She is the lowest on the totem pole. They beat her up and pull out her feathers. I'm not sure exactly what to do with her yet. I feel horrible. And the one that was her same kind that would protect her died, which I was very sad about. And so she's too skittish and fearful to stand up for herself like the other one did. But anyway, just a simple coop, right? And you can move it along the grass. Look how dark it is there compared to the rest. And so we're going to just keep building up this grass to make it healthier. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and get chickens, the best thing you can do is order from a hatchery. McMurray Hatchery is good. Meyer Hatchery we've loved. We've had no issues with. You know, some people will just go to Tractor Supply, but something to consider is whether you want them to be vaccinated, not vaccinated. If you get from Tractor Supply, I believe they already come vaccinated. If you go to other hatcheries online, you have the option, and then they'll normally ship them to your post office, and then you can pick them up there. And so it's really simple. You take them home. All you need is like a cardboard box, a plastic bin with some shavings in it. You need a heat lamp to keep them warm. And you raise them either inside a garage somewhere where they can stay warm and no animals can get to them. You just make sure that they're obviously warm enough. And so one way to do that, everybody will give you certain temperatures that chicks need, but it's just simple. Watch them, right? So if you put a heat lamp there, if they're all like running towards the heat lamp, they're freezing, right? So if they're scattered, they're way too hot. And then you can look at them and see if they're panting, right? They don't sweat, so you'll see them open their mouths and you know, they look like they're panting. So if somebody doesn't have chickens, you don't know what to look for, right? I remember going over to my friend's house who just got chicks, and I'm like, oh, they're so hot, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I didn't know that's why their mouths were open, right? So these are things to learn ahead of time. And if it's just too hot, move the lamp away a little bit, right? Move their whatever, just simply adjust it, right? And if they're kind of just like, you know, some are laying down in it and some are mixed, that's like perfect, right? Just right. And that's kind of what you want. And so you're going to keep them there safe, warm, for 6 weeks about, right? And you're gonna, like, over the weeks kind of have to keep moving the temperature away because their feathers are starting to come in. And you can just get basic feed, little waterers. They have it all set up at the stores for you. I do have an Amazon storefront. If you went in there, I think I have a section for all chicken supplies, but it's so easy, literally. And you just have to make sure that you have a coop that is protected, that animals can't get in, that they have somewhere sheltered from rain and heat, and things like that. You could put it right in your backyard, and after 6 weeks, when they're fully feathered and the weather is nice that week, you put them outside, and that's it, right? And then every day or every other day, you feed and water. You make sure they have feed and water, but you can buy bigger feeders, bigger waters to prevent the time. 5 minutes a day, guys, and you can have fresh eggs every single day for your family, and it is such a blessing. And it's not like a daunting task. It's like, wow, I get to raise these animals to feed my family. I get to take care of them. It's a blessing to work with your own hands. And then finally getting to taste the fruit of your labor is the best part.